One of the biggest underground operations in American history, the Black Mafia Family, BMF, stands as a testament to the audacity and ambition of two brothers who defied the odds. With millions of dollars, dozens of mansions, supercars, and music labels under their belt, this is an incredible story about how individuals from the bottom infiltrated the mainstream world. From the treacherous streets of Detroit to yacht parties in Miami, the tale of BMF is both captivating and cautionary. This is the story of the Black Mafia Family, a powerful drug trafficking and money laundering organization that not only left its mark on the streets, but also ventured into the music industry. But before we dive into this gripping narrative, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. Now let's get into it. The story of BMF begins in Detroit, Michigan, a city once hailed as the wealthiest in the world during the 1950s. The rise of General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler created thousands of jobs, attracting waves of Americans eager for opportunity. For about 15 years, Detroit flourished. Life seemed as good as it could get. However, the 1960s marked the beginning of a downward spiral for the Motor City. Factory workers began to strike for better wages, and in response, many automakers relocated their operations overseas. The exodus of jobs led to rampant unemployment, transforming Detroit into a shadow of its former self. By 1968, Detroit had become unrecognizable, plagued by abandoned homes, deteriorating schools, and rampant crime. Among the neighborhoods hit hardest was Southwest Detroit, particularly an area known as Boynton. Cut off from the rest of the city by a river, this community was as rough as it got. Here at 1555 Edsel Street, one of the few functional houses on the entire block, two brothers were born, Demetrius and Terry Flannery. Growing up in Southwest Detroit, the Flannery brothers faced significant hardships, yet they always managed to navigate their difficult upbringing. Demetrius, known as Big Meech, was charismatic and flashy, eager to draw attention. In contrast, his younger brother Terry, who would later adopt the moniker Southwest T, preferred to stay under the radar. Despite their differing personalities, both brothers shared an undeniable gift for hustling. From a young age, the Flannery brothers engaged in various forms of hustling, selling everything from candy to clothes to make ends meet. By the time Meech was a junior in high school, he was pulling in a steady income of about $1,000 a week, substantial for a teenager but still small potatoes compared to the rampant drug trade surrounding them. In 1984, a pivotal moment arrived when a friend named Kilo introduced Meech to Ed Boyd, a major drug distributor with connections between Miami and Detroit. After impressing Boyd, Meech began working alongside him, quickly learning the ins and outs of the drug game. The duo devised a strategy to sell 50 bags of drugs at a significantly lower price than their competitors, allowing them to rapidly gain a loyal customer base. This strategy quickly earned them the nickname the 50 Boys. By 1985, the 50 Boys had solidified their reputation in Detroit's drug scene. Big Meech flaunted his newfound wealth, sporting gold chains, mink coats, and driving flashy foreign cars. However, his flamboyant lifestyle attracted unwanted attention, leading Ed Boyd to caution him about the dangers of being so visible. Despite Boyd's advice, Meech remained undeterred. As the 50 Boys' success grew, so did tensions with rival gangs, particularly with Leighton Simon, known as the Beast, who controlled the 12th Street area. Their rivalry dated back years, but things escalated when both sides found themselves at a boxing match in Las Vegas in June 1985. A confrontation between Meech and Simon ensued, igniting a feud that would only grow fiercer. The escalating violence culminated in 1987, a year that would change everything for the Flannery brothers. At just 15 years old, Terry decided to adopt the name Southwest T, a nod to a local kingpin. This choice led to conflicts with the original Southwest T, but the real trouble began when Terry narrowly escaped a violent attack that left him with a serious eye injury. The brothers realized that they were now targets, and the stakes were higher than ever. The shooting marked a turning point for the 50 Boys. After a close friend was murdered, they began to understand the brutal realities of their lifestyle. The violence escalated to a new level, culminating in a shootout outside the Coney Island Diner in May 1987, where Leighton Simon was hit multiple times but survived. The 50 Boys' reputation for toughness solidified, but their conflicts with Simon would not be easily resolved. Despite their confidence and rising notoriety, Big Meech knew that remaining in Detroit could prove fatal. He made the difficult decision to leave the city and the violent life behind. The Flannery brothers, alongside their crew, relocated, leaving behind their once thriving operation. However, this was not merely a change of scenery, it was the genesis of a new identity. The 50 Boys rebranded themselves as the Black Mafia Family, adopting a new operational strategy reminiscent of the Italian Mafia's methods, with a focus on profitability over local street rivalries. In their new incarnation as BMF, the brothers sought to expand their empire. Southwest T moved to Los Angeles, while Big Meech headed to Atlanta. Initially, the transition was challenging, and their earnings diminished drastically as they worked to establish connections in their new territories. However, fortune smiled upon them in 1990 when Southwest T met Wayne Jordan, a man with strong ties to Mexican drug cartels. This connection opened the floodgates for BMF. With Jordan's help, BMF tapped into a supply chain that allowed them to offer drugs at competitive prices. They established a warehouse in Los Angeles, serving as a hub for their operations. Meech and Terry soon returned to their opulent lifestyles, with Meech making a name for himself as a prominent figure in Atlanta's nightlife. Atlanta became the new playground for Big Meech. He reveled in the nightlife and frequented clubs in his supercars, adorned with diamond chains and mink coats. He was not merely a player in the underground scene. He sought the spotlight. BMF became synonymous with luxury, attracting attention from celebrities and influential figures. They threw extravagant parties, often featuring high-profile guests and lavish displays of wealth. As Meech basked in the limelight, Southwest T preferred to maintain a lower profile in LA. This divergence in their approaches to their newfound success created tension between the brothers. While Southwest T remained cautious, Meech's desire for recognition and power only intensified. The late 1990s saw BMF's influence grow exponentially, but with wealth came the risks of exposure. Meech and his crew amassed a fleet of luxury cars and 8 mansions in Atlanta, each serving as a warehouse for their operations. They began hiring specialists in various fields, including a man named Doc Marshall, a mathematical genius who helped optimize their financial operations. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, hip-hop culture was experiencing a renaissance. Atlanta was at the epicenter of this movement, emerging as a hub for new talent and innovative sounds. Big Meech recognized the potential of aligning BMF with the hip-hop scene, understanding that the music industry could provide a legitimate front for their operations. The brothers sought to infiltrate the music world, and their connection with artists began to flourish. They formed BMF Entertainment, their record label, and signed various artists. This strategic move allowed them to launder drug money through music sales and further solidified their presence in the entertainment industry. Big Meech became a well-known figure in Atlanta's club scene, often seen in the company of rappers and athletes. He built relationships with notable figures like Diddy and Lil Kim, leveraging his connections to gain influence. BMF's affiliation with hip-hop gave them a level of legitimacy that masked their illegal activities, allowing them to thrive in both worlds. As BMF's fame grew, so did their penchant for excess. The brothers were known for throwing lavish parties that attracted some of the biggest names in hip-hop and entertainment. These events became legendary, featuring extravagant themes, top-tier entertainment, and opulent displays of wealth. Mansion parties, yacht gatherings, and celebrity-studded events were the norm for BMF. Big Meech often flaunted his lifestyle, hosting gatherings in his sprawling Atlanta mansions, complete with private chefs, exotic dancers, and high-profile guests. However, the excess came at a price. The opulence and attention they garnered only intensified the scrutiny from law enforcement. The more visible they became, the more vulnerable they were to investigation. As the early 2000s unfolded, the FBI and DEA began to take notice of the growing influence of BMF. Their operations, once shrouded in secrecy, now attracted the attention of law enforcement agencies eager to dismantle the organization. In 2005, the FBI launched Operation Motor City, a massive investigation aimed at uncovering the intricacies of BMF's operations. Over the course of the investigation, agents gathered intelligence, conducted surveillance, and infiltrated the organization. They uncovered a network of associates, including distributors, street-level dealers, and money launderers, all contributing to the empire that the Flenner brothers had built. The scale of their operations was staggering, with millions of dollars flowing through the organization. Despite the mounting evidence, BMF's members remained confident in their ability to evade capture. They believed that their ties to the music industry provided a level of protection, shielding them from law enforcement scrutiny. However, the walls were closing in. In March 2005, the FBI executed a series of raids across the country, targeting BMF's operations in multiple states. The coordinated effort led to dozens of arrests and significant seizures of cash, drugs, and assets. Among those arrested were several high-ranking members of the organization, but the Flannery brothers managed to evade capture for the time being. Despite their efforts to stay under the radar, Big Meech and Southwest T's arrest was inevitable. In October 2005, law enforcement finally caught up with the Flannery brothers. Meech was apprehended in a dramatic raid on his Atlanta mansion where agents discovered a treasure trove of evidence linking him to the drug trade. They seized luxury cars, cash, and significant amounts of narcotics, marking a significant blow to BMF. In 2007, both brothers were indicted on drug trafficking and conspiracy charges. The government's case against them was substantial, backed by extensive wiretaps, witness testimonies, and evidence gathered during the investigation. Facing lengthy prison sentences, the brothers had no choice but to confront the consequences of their choices. The trials for Big Meech and Southwest T became a media spectacle. Their lavish lifestyles, connections to the hip-hop industry, and the scale of their operations drew significant public interest. The courtroom proceedings showcased the complexities of their empire, highlighting how ambition and excess can lead to downfall. In 2008, Big Meech was sentenced to 30 years in prison, while Southwest T received a 25-year sentence. The sentences reflected the government's determination to send a strong message to those involved in drug trafficking. The BMF story, once characterized by power and luxury, had reached a sobering conclusion. While the Flannery brothers faced the consequences of their actions, their story did not fade into obscurity. BMF became a cultural phenomenon, inspiring books, documentaries, and even a television series. The narrative surrounding BMF evolved from a tale of ambition and excess into a cautionary tale about the dangers of pursuing power and wealth. The legacy of BMF remains palpable in the hip-hop community. Artists like Young Jeezy and Rick Ross have referenced BMF in their music, paying homage to the influence the organization had on the culture. The imagery of luxury, power, and the allure of the drug trade continues to resonate, serving as a reminder of the complexities within the pursuit of success. The Black Mafia Family's rise coincided with the golden era of hip-hop, a genre deeply intertwined with themes of ambition, struggle, and survival. Big Meech and Southwest T's influence extended beyond their drug empire. They became prominent figures in the music industry, cultivating relationships with some of the biggest names in hip-hop. They established BMF Entertainment, using their resources to promote artists, host lavish events, and create a brand synonymous with luxury and excess. BMF's aesthetic, marked by flashy cars, extravagant parties, and high-profile connections, captivated the hip-hop community. The brothers leveraged their wealth to gain respect and notoriety, positioning themselves as influential players in the industry. Their lifestyle became a template for many aspiring artists, emphasizing that success was achievable through charisma and ambition, regardless of the legal or moral boundaries one might cross. The allure of BMF was not just in their wealth, but in the persona they cultivated. Big Meech, in particular, became a larger-than-life figure, often seen in the company of celebrities and at high-profile events. His image was immortalized in the music of artists like Young Jeezy, who frequently referenced BMF in his lyrics, celebrating the lavish lifestyle that the organization embodied. The phrase BMF itself became a cultural phenomenon, representing not just the organization but a lifestyle. Merchandise featuring the BMF logo emerged, and the brand became synonymous with luxury and a disregard for the law. This commercialization of their image illustrates how deeply BMF impacted hip-hop culture, transforming their story into a blueprint for others. Following the arrests and subsequent convictions of Big Meech and Southwest T, the hip-hop community faced a reckoning. The brothers' downfall served as a stark reminder of the thin line between success and failure in a world where ambition can easily lead to ruin. The reality of their situation, 30 years in prison for Big Meech and 25 for Southwest T, was a sobering conclusion to their once-celebrated narrative. In prison, Big Meech and Southwest T were cut off from the lavish lifestyles they had built. Their stories became a cautionary tale, sparking discussions about the dangers of the drug trade and the costs of a life of excess. Many young aspiring artists reflected on the lessons from BMF, recognizing that the pursuit of wealth through illegal means could result in devastating consequences. Despite their criminal activities, the legacy of BMF continues to be examined through a cultural lens. Documentaries and TV series like BMF, created by 50 Cent, have sought to depict the complexities of their lives, providing a nuanced portrayal that celebrates their ambition while not shying away from the darker aspects of their choices. This representation has contributed to a growing fascination with their story, allowing a new generation to grapple with the themes of ambition, family, and the consequences of crime. BMF's narrative challenges us to consider the duality of their legacy. On one hand, they exemplified the American dream's darker side, and on the other, they demonstrated the power of influence in shaping culture. Their impact is felt in the ongoing conversation about morality, ambition, and success in the music industry. The BMF legacy persists in today's hip-hop landscape, where themes of wealth, power, and rebellion continue to dominate lyrics and imagery. Artists like Rick Ross, who has a song titled BMF, Blowin' Money Fast, explicitly reference the organization, showcasing their lasting impact on the genre. The glamorization of the BMF lifestyle reflects a broader trend in hip-hop, where the line between reality and artistic expression often blurs. This phenomenon has sparked debates about the responsibility of artists in portraying lifestyles that can be detrimental, reinforcing a cycle that glorifies illegal activities. Moreover, the stories of Big Meech and Southwest T have ignited conversations about ambition and the pursuit of dreams, particularly in underserved communities. Their narrative exemplifies the struggle for success against systemic obstacles, resonating with many who view their story as both a cautionary tale and a source of inspiration. As hip-hop continues to evolve, the saga of the Black Mafia Family serves as a reminder of the complexities inherent in the pursuit of the American dream, where the allure of wealth can sometimes overshadow the harsh realities of the choices made along the way. The saga of the Black Mafia Family serves as both an inspiration and a cautionary tale. It illustrates the consequences of ambition unchecked by morality, revealing how the pursuit of power and wealth can lead to both triumph and tragedy. As we reflect on the story of BMF, we must consider the choices made and the paths taken by the Flenory brothers. While they transformed their lives from humble beginnings to the apex of power, they ultimately lost it all in the end. The lessons learned from their rise and fall resonate far beyond their story, prompting us to question the true cost of ambition and the sacrifices made in the pursuit of success. Southwest T was released from prison in May 2020, and his brother Big Meech was released on October 17, 2024, and is currently in a halfway house. His full release will be in January 2026. What lessons can we take away from this tale? Comment below with your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more stories like this, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, and be sure to join our YouTube membership for more exclusive content. Thanks for watching.